Good afternoon, everyone. This is Suzanne Miller at Dunrovin Ranch in lovely Lolo, Montana. It's a spring day, regardless of the snow on the ground. And we know it's spring because our Royal Highness, Her Royal Highness, Harriet, has returned. We're going to do something very different today. And one of the things we would like to do is talk about Harriet, both now, but also kind of take a tour through the past with some videos that I have saved over the years. I kind of wanted to highlight Harriet. And at the end of our videos, I'd like to have a discussion with four of you or three of you who would volunteer to get on a chat session that would show you both live and verbally. And the way that you would volunteer to do this is to send an email to support@daysatdunrovin.com, and you would do that now. Just send an email to support@daysatdunrovin.com and make sure that your computer has both a camera and a video camera and a microphone so that we can put you right on with everybody else. And I see that Bobcat is asking, where am I? Well, I'm behind the photo here. Right now, what you're looking at is a photo that we took just yesterday of our lovely Harriet. And I know we're all just so thrilled to have her back. And people who have not been around Harriet for a long time always ask me, how do you know it's Harriet? And of course, all of you who have been with me for a long time and been with Harriet for a long time know that it's that distinctive pattern of flecks, black flecks in her eyes. And I can't tell you, my heart stops when she comes back every year. I'm so excited and I'm so relieved that she has come back. Before I go on to my first movie, I'm going to remind you, I'd really love to have at least 3 volunteers send an email right now to support@daysatdunrovin.com and have your computer open with a camera and a microphone. And then when we're finished with the videos, we can have a little chat. It'll be fun. People can see you as well as me. Okay, so I'm going to take Harriet's photo down right now, and I am going to go to a place on my computer that will allow me to bring up some videos. And so you're going to see my computer screen change back and forth a little bit. And I wanted to go all the way back to 2011. 2011 was the first year that we had a web camera. And you're going to see a real difference in quality here. This is a close-up feeding from 2011. And she had 2 chicks that year, she and Ozzy. And you can see that there's a real difference in the quality of the web camera now than there was then. So let's just watch this video for a moment. 2 chicks. And of these 2 chicks, one fledged and actually left Montana. The other one died in a fishing accident in the Bitterroot River. We found its body several days after it had taken off. We did not name the chicks this year. They were just known by their numbers. And the truth is, I was not even able to operate the camera at this point. This was operated entirely by the University of Montana. So this was the very first year, and we were sort of just getting used to the whole concept of having a web camera with us. Kind of a grainy quality to the video, which really reflects the quality both of our bandwidth and of the camera that was in use that very first year. But this was really eye-opening for all of us because I had never been able to see these birds up close and personal like this, even though I had been living with them for, 15 years. They were here at the ranch long before the web camera was. It was just such a thrill to be able to see them up close and personal. Okay, I'm going to stop this video and I'll do another one from 2011. And this is of Ozzy delivering two fish at once. And, you know, Ozzy was the consummate fisherman. And here are those two chicks now, fairly grown up, getting ready to fledge. And here comes Ozzy with a couple of fish. A fish, a, a fish for each chick. What a guy that Ozzy was. And what a racket those chicks make, those osprey make. We love that sound, don't we? As loud as it is. Then my next video, I'm going to jump up to 2014. And 2014 was the first year that we had installed a nightlight, or an infrared nightlight. And it just so happens that that was that year that Harriet gave birth, or her first chick hatched in the middle of the night. And I couldn't help myself. I had to sing a song. So here we go. Welcome to my nest. Won't you break on in? Miracles, I guess, still happen now and then. Roll into my heart, leave your egg behind. Welcome to my nest, built with you in mind. Knock, and the egg shall be open. Seek, and you will find. Ask, and you'll be given the key to this heart of mine. I'll be waiting there with my wings at rest, waiting just for you. Welcome to my nest. Pretty corny, I know, but I do love to sing and I love these animals. And I was so delighted that we were able to capture that at night. This was opened up a whole new aspect for us. A number of things happened in 2014, as you all remember. First of all, there was quite an attack that I thought was an interesting video where Harriet really defends her chicks. And this is very common, as you all know. We also had the ranch camera by this time, so we were able to watch the action from afar, even though there's no sound. But this really shows you what was happening from afar, so you can see more of the action. But you can see what a fierce defender Harriet was of her chicks and continues to be. I always want her on my side, I'll tell you that. 2014 was also a year in which we were able to record an attack on the nest by a great blue heron. This surprised me, frankly. I didn't think a great blue heron would attack them, but it did. And this is on the ranch camera, so there's no sound, but it gives you a really good view of the great blue heron. Great blue herons are fierce birds. And as you know, we have a number of them around here, and you've seen them stalk and capture ground squirrels next to us. They're fierce. In a moment, you'll see this great blue heron come flying by. There it goes. I mean, who knew? Gorgeous bird, but definitely a threat to chicks. A great blue heron would definitely eat a chick. Here, this has got sound now, so you'll hear the great blue heron as well. Hear it? You can see how the chicks just laid right flat in the nest. They knew exactly what to do. Okay, we're going to see it in slow motion now, that great blue heron. Okay. Okay, I'm going to show one more clip from 2014. If you all remember, 2014 was the year that Ozzy was killed by an eagle. So this made Harriet a single mom. And boy, let me tell you, she was a provider. She stayed and stayed, and she brought her chicks all they needed. our Harriet always meets every challenge that's put before her. And of course, when she came back in 2015, she didn't have a mate. And she looked and looked for a mate. And this is, I want to show you a video of her early in the year, on the morning of April 7th. And as many of you who have been with me for a while know that I love to do what I call camera caresses. And this is a camera caress in fast time of the frost on Harriet's wings. I like to get right in there with the details and see the wings and how they're the feathers and how they come together. And I commonly do this when there are raindrops or frost or whenever Harriet's still enough for me to use the camera and do some close-ups. But this was a period of time when she was waiting and waiting and waiting for a potential mate. And so the next video that I will show is some chaos that was sort of the um, theme for 2015. Harriet went through a number of different potential mates. And the first one we called Heiko, after one of the scientists. He wasn't the only one. There were males coming around from all over the place. A lot of mantling going on. A lot of different guys. Finding the right mate is clearly hard business. Lots of potential candidates, but Harriet had to wait for just the right one. Okay, here's that same sequence of events from the branch camera, which gives you a little bit more perspective of what was going on, all the flying around by the various guys. It was sheer pandemonium for a few weekends there when Harriet was the object of a lot of ardor by a lot of male ospreys. I think one weekend we counted 5 different male ospreys hanging around. It was like she had a sign up that says widow with real estate, and they were all gathering around. Those of you who watched this year will remember she started off with mate Heiko, and then he was kicked out by mate Victor, and then Victor disappeared, and that's when this young osprey came, and she actually took to him and kept him, and we all said hallelujah, so we named him Hal. That's how Hal got his name. We were all so relieved that she finally picked a mate, and I think she really picked the right mate. Hal has really stepped up into Ozzy's shoes. A lot of competition for Harriet's favors, that's for sure. There were no chicks produced that year. In fact, the eggs that were laid just stayed in the nest. One of them stayed for a long time. We called it Egbert, and it exploded from the heat on a hot July day. And that was the end of that. But it was a successful year for Harriet because she found a really good mate, and Hal has been with her ever since. So I'm going to move on to 2016 right now. And 2016 started off with we had the first chicks that came from Hal. We called them Honor and Glory. And I really like this little video of Glory helicoptering early in the morning with the morning light. Glory was trying to get out of there with a fish. She was getting some air, but not much forward momentum. This is one of my favorite parts of the breeding season, is to watch those chicks learn how to fly. It's very exciting, and they kind of made it through the difficult period. So now I'm going to switch to 2017, and 2017 was a very, very eventful beginning. That was the year uh, that started with a goose on the nest that Harriet dispatched, but the goose left an egg in the nest. And then we had this great snowstorm. So here's a little fast forward, almost exactly 2 years ago. This is on April 3rd of 2017, so 3 years ago. But there's that goose egg, and there's Harriet on the perch with the snow just piling up, piling, piling, piling. And she just stays there standing on one foot. This is all in fast time, clearly. But look at the snow pile up on her foot. Serious snowstorm. And then it stops. And it starts to disappear almost as quickly as it fell. If you're watching the donkeys underneath you, that's about as fast as you've ever seen them move. So this only took about 2 hours time between the snow piled up and the snow went away. This was the start of the season for Harriet 3 years ago. And then, Harriet tried to get rid of that darned goose egg, and we were wondering what on earth is going to happen to that goose egg. Well, we didn't need to worry too long because Mr. or Mrs. Raven found it. The thing I like about this is you can see that the raven checks around to see if anybody's watching before it steals the egg. Kind of looks around. Nice big raven. Tries it out. Picks it up, and off it goes. So he solved our problem, that Mr. Raven. He became the hero in Honk, Hoot, and Hero that we named the chicks that year. And the reason we named them Honk and Hero is and Hoot is because we had a great horned owl hanging around that year. And it actually knocked both Honk and Hero off their perch later in the summer. I was worried that they were going to be injured, but they weren't. Again, this is in the middle of the night. These great horned owls are very predacious on osprey chicks. I know some of you have watched other osprey nests around the country and have watched a great horned owl come and take chicks. I mean, she could have taken one of those almost fully grown chicks and killed it. These great horned owls are really ferocious predators, but they too are beautiful. And this great horned owl has been around Dunrovin about 3 years in a row that she has shown up at night. I'm sort of hopeful that she stays away, but I'm pretty convinced she has a nest somewhere around here because she's such a common occurrence. And we do hear her occasionally at Dunrovin. She's a beautiful bird, but I just assume she stay away from the ospreys. I'm really grateful we have this nightlight and the perch. They've been great additions to the osprey nest operation. Just being able to see at night has been such a gift. And that perch has kept the ospreys close at hand and within viewing distance much of the time. In rewatching this video, I I often wondered, where did the chicks go once the owl occupied their nest? I wondered where they were, in the trees watching and waiting for her to go, or just where they went. The truth is, I don't remember whether they came back to the perch that night later or not. I also think it's very interesting what this owl is doing right now. It seems to be taking little bits off of the piece of bark that's up there. And this is no doubt a cottonwood bark. And a cottonwood bark has a medicinal quality to it. Um, Owls don't generally um, eat vegetative matter. They are birds of prey. So it's unusual to see an owl eat something like cottonwood bark, unless it probably knows that it needs something um, for its system. But you can see it doing it there for sure. We saw a kestrel do the same thing and clearly eat the little bits of bark that it was stripping from a piece of cottonwood bark. Okay, I'm going to move on from Mr. or Mrs. Owl, Great Horned Owl. They're beautiful and I love seeing them, but I sure don't want them menacing our osprey's nest. Let me go back and get another video here, or we're going to run out of time. So 2017 was also the year in which Honk had an accidental fledge. And I'm sure those of you who were here that summer remember this incident. Honk was helicoptering and basically fell off the nest and landed on the roof of our barn. This happened to be during a wedding, and I know many of you were very concerned about Hawk. So you texted my son when Hawk left the um, roof of the barn and flew into the um, forest to see if he could go find Hawk. And pretty soon, everybody in the wedding reception was in the forest looking for the bird. It was a really fun event for everybody. And luckily, Honk was not injured in any way. But here she goes. She's going to go right off the nest. There she goes. Now watch very carefully between the bars of the perch and you will see her land on the roof. She stayed there for quite a spell, a couple hours. And some of you were madly texting us to see if we couldn't uh, keep track of her. Now here it is from the ranch camera, which is even more um, better view of the whole event. Here she goes, right off the side of the nest. And there she is on the roof of the barn, where, like I say, she remained for some time. And this was some great camera work by I Love. Both I Love and Celia just do some terrific camera work for us. We're really appreciative of the work you do, ladies. During a wedding, we were otherwise occupied. We never would have been able to capture these videos without your help. Honk comes back the next morning, and to everybody's relief. All is well that ends well. That was a really fun incident. There's one more from 2017 that I wanted to show you, and that was Hal's great pole vaulting adventure. He's great with the big sticks. And he comes in with a real whopper of a stick and just basically pole vaults right on over. If you'll remember, Hal brings all kinds of strange things to the nest. He brings dried horse apples. He brings huge sticks. He brings potted plants. He's a real home decorator. What a guy. We've all come to love Hal. Okay. Now I'm going to skip forward to 2018, and this is a great tug of war. This is a common occurrence, of course, when the chicks get old enough that they can, participate in some very keen competition when Hal brings those fish to these older chicks. And these two chicks were very, very combative. This was Wakati and Congo, and they were very combative chicks. And some of these tug of wars go on for minutes, each one insisting that it's going to be their fish. They're just not giving up. These two were very, very aggressive chicks. I'm sure you all remember we had a third chick that year who was just relentlessly bonked by these two. Really didn't have a very good chance to survive. I think it might have survived had we had enough fish, but we had a, a flood that year, and Hal just wasn't able to keep up with the fish demands. And these two were so aggressive that poor third chick just didn't have a chance. Jumbo. And you can certainly see that on display here. These two really went at it time and time again. That was also the year when the fox family was here, and these two would fight so much that the fish would fall out of the nest, and the foxes figured that out and would line up under the nest every morning for a free fish. Okay, enough of that fighting. Okay, so I'm going to switch to last year, to 2019, which was a wonderful year. 3 chicks, and I wanted to show this hailstorm with Harriet sheltering her 3 chicks during this really pretty ferocious hailstorm. And I'm sure all of you who remembered that Harriet just does whatever she needs to do to protect her chicks. Shelter them from the sun, shelter them from the rain, from the snow, from the hail. She's just an incredible mother. Does her very best, puts herself in harm's way, just is totally committed to the survival of her chicks. The weather in Montana, follows the saying, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes and it'll change. So anything's likely to happen on any day. Strong storms, wind, rain, snow, whatever. Okay, this last video is from last year. And this is Hal delivering a fish that has a fish inside of it. Watch closely and you'll see a fish sticking out of the fish. So clearly he captured a fish that had just eaten another fish. Last year was such a successful and wonderful year. All 3 chicks survived. They flourished. They were well fed. There was very little competition going on. It was just a wonderful, peaceful nest. It's not always that way, as everybody knows, but we really lucked out last year. My hope is that we will have the same this year. I think Love kept count of the number of fish that Hal delivered last year. And if my memory serves me correctly, it was somewhere between 650 and 700 fish that came to the nest that year. Well, that's all of the videos I have, folks. I've really enjoyed doing this little retrospective with you, and I want to know, James, has anybody signed up to get on the chat with me live?
We haven't had any takers yet at the address. If the support at Dunrovin email, if you've tried to send me an email, if that didn't go through for some reason or I haven't responded to you, can always email dunrovincams@gmail.com. That's our other support account. And I can hook you up with a link to join a video conference. But yeah, for right now, doesn't look like we have anybody signed up for that yet.
Well, let's give them another minute here. If you'd like to chat with me and share your thoughts with everybody, we're trying out this new technology. So if you send an email to support at days@dunrovin.com, James will get you connected and we can both appear in front of everybody and we can talk about our experiences with Harriet and Hal. So I hope one of you out there who has a camera or with a microphone will choose to get on camera with me and we can just have a quick chat and people can see you and wave to you and see what you look like and hear you. So come on, somebody, Bobcat or Am I Blue or Celia or Hey Paula, send an email to support@days@dunrovin.com and James will send you the detailed instructions. Don't be shy. You can't be shy. You know me, I mean, I get on here and sing and everything else. So if I'm going to make a fool of myself, you know, you got to follow suit. Yes, Bobcat, I've heard nothing about Iris as well. I don't know whether she has shown up or not. Well, James, it looks like we're not going to have any takers. That's okay. We certainly enjoyed having you with us on the chat. And we were off to a very good year this year. Harriet's back and doing well. I saw her down at the river, and I hope you all had an opportunity to read the Missoulian article. The photographer came out here and took a great picture of her on the winter perch with a fish. And it was a funny incident because he was out here. And of course, because of the social distancing, I told him, well, just text me if you need any help. Otherwise, I won't come out. And he texted me, he said, well, I've been here for half an hour and Harriet's nowhere to be found. And it just so happened that I was following her, trying to follow her with the river cam. So I went out and I said, well, I think she's fishing right now. You know, if she's fishing, she'll come right back and land on this perch. And no sooner did I get the words out of my mouth, but she did. I really impressed the cameraman because he thought, wow, she does exactly what you say she does is going to do. So I was so glad that he was able to get a really good a view of Harriet with her fish. So I think Am I Blue is, and this would be Diane Hoffman, who has just sent a text or an email to you, James. Have you got her on? Should I go over and get on the one-click chat? Give me some instructions here.
I'm working on getting the link put together now, and
Okay.
we'll get that
That's
sorted
great.
out here in just a moment.
So those of you who don't have a camera, get on Amazon, get yourself a camera so that we can see you and talk to you in person. This is something that we're going to try to perfect so that every now and then we can have some chats among you, not just me talking to you, but talking with you. Yes, the Osprey boss, you're right, Celia. I don't know where they got that from, but I'm sure it was the cameraman went back to the newspaper and said, well, they do exactly what she says they're going to do. That was really funny. I'm an Osprey Wrangler. Yeah. But instead of using a rope, I use a camera to capture them. Tell me when to get off of the Zoom, James, and get on to One Click and see if we can't get Am I Blue on there with us.
Absolutely. I just sent that link out to her, and
Okay.
so she should be receiving that soon. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll sign off on the broadcast officially here, but we'll be back with Am I Blue here, and we'll come back online, and you'll see a screen with Suzanne and Diane chatting, hopefully. So, Suzanne, I'll let you sign off, and we'll be back shortly.
Okay. I'm going to sign off Harriet's photo, and I'm going to try to come back on with Diane Hoffman, Am I Blue, and see if we can't perfect this technology. It's a bit of a experience with us, right? Yeah, experiment with us like we like to do, but we know that you guys hang in there with us for our experiments. So I'm trying to get out of Zoom here. I hope I have done that.
All right. Well, we'll talk to y'all in a little bit. Bye-bye.
The ranch broadcast. You'll make sure your sound is off the ranch broadcast, Diane, if you have it up as well. Make sure that it's muted. Otherwise, you'll get an echo.
I'm just on my PC, which is using my one and only microphone. So
okay, yeah, but just make sure that do you have the ranch camera going on in the background?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go and mute it, because otherwise we'll hear you twice. Because we're being broadcast right now on the ranch camera. Okay.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
we're gonna wave to everybody. Wave. This is Diane Hoffman, Am I Blue? And Diane, tell us where you live.
Kennett Square in Pennsylvania. And I'm living quite an isolated and non-social life. So this is just wonderful to see somebody's face in my kitchen again.
Yes, yes. I hope that we'll be able to perfect this, and that we can have a regular chat session where members.
Well, now, wouldn't this make our book club lovely?
Yes, Think of that. That's exactly. This is going to really help us with our book club and with, I want to do the Great American Trials again. I love doing those. So we've got some wonderful plans, as we move forward. It's been a little bit hectic for us because we've had to close the ranch down, of course, which has been, yeah. I mean, the whole social isolating has been, traumatic for everybody. But
the reason I have Zoom is because I have a trainer that comes in, twice a week to make sure that I stay in shape, which I wouldn't do if she wasn't here. Anyway, because of our shutdown, she isn't coming to the house anymore. So she said, well, I don't want you to stop exercising. So we set up Zoom, and she watches me all the way through my exercises.
Well, that's great. That's great. That's wonderful. Well, do you remember when I had the yoga instructor in the orchard with me one year?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do that again. I'm going to get a line dancer. Everybody can line dance by themselves.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. So we got ideas. So let's just take a minute here, and I'd like to hear your first year's impression of Harriet. Give us your history with Harriet, Diane.
Well, I was here the first year. We had all been watching, let me see. We had been watching The Great Blue Heron at Cornell.
Yeah.
And they flew away. I mean, they do that. They fledged.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was so taken down, and I happened to have found the Dunrovin camp. And that was the first year you had put it at the ranch. It had been down at another tree the year before, and I guess the tree had fallen down, and you moved it up to the ranch.
We moved it from an electrical pole.
An electric pole, that was it.
Yeah.
And you moved them up to the ranch, and that was the first year they'd been there. And Harriet and Ozzy were just fascinating. But the reason I watched it is it was a failed nest.
Yes.
None of their chicks hatched that year.
Yes.
And that to me was even more fascinating than if they had hatched, because I figured I would never get to watch a failed nest again. So everybody started watching Hellgate, but there were a certain group of us who are all pretty much on this chat who watched it. And it was really interesting to see how long they listened to those eggs. They knew the eggs were dead because they couldn't hear the chicks. And finally, Ozzy had just had it and kicked an egg out.
Yeah.
But that
it was really fascinating, wasn't it? And
it was
very fascinating. The university people were as fascinated as well. And when they brought the egg, the one remaining egg, they did
I remember that.
Get it. And it was empty. It was infertile. So for whatever reason.
That year, we had a really, really wet year. And this is what really interested me, because when Ozzy and Harriet came back the next year, they made a triple-decker nest. Yeah. So I think that those things had gotten really wet, and that the weather had really affected what had happened there. But of course, I don't have a very good degree in Osprey, so
but you're a very good and ardent. You have a lot of experience with birds. You've been all over the world watching birds, and so it's really fun to see them in unusual circumstances, like we did that particular year. But you've been watching ever since, have you not?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it was interesting when you showed those two chicks fighting. I think that was the most aggression I've ever seen on that nest. It was absolutely stunning to watch those. And I've never seen, and that, I think, and you correctly put it down to the lack of food.
Right. That was the year that there was a lot of flooding. And I don't know if you remember, but all 4 chicks in the Hellgate nest starved that year.
Yeah.
So I was very happy that we had the 2 that survived.
Very healthy chicks.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real gamble, and the thing I love about this is no matter what's happening to us here in our human world, these birds are just totally committed to their survival, and come. We know it's spring when Harriet arrives, and it doesn't matter what we're engaged with. She comes regardless. So
yeah, and then it snows.
Yep, it always snows. I had a foal born on April 15th, tax day, and I thought about calling her Taxes, but she was born in a snowstorm, and so instead I called her Stormy. So, yeah. Well, this is great.
Yes, I love seeing your face. I can't tell you how I've been worrying and wondering how you're doing, and seeing you makes all the difference in the world. And I think
I really hope. I hope a number of people feel courageous enough to get on with us, so we can start doing this as a regular part of our offering here, where people can really connect. You see what a messy office I have in my background. You have this nice white wall in my
office. In my kitchen.
Is it complete?
In my kitchen. This is my messy office.
Yeah. So tell the viewers about your visit to Dunrovin. You've been here.
Oh, I love Dunrovin. It's very funny because my granddaughter came with me. That isn't the funny part. She loved it, and she learned how to ride there, and she learned how to fall, and she learned how to get up and keep riding, and she took care of her horse, and she kept up that riding from when they returned to Los Angeles.
That's great.
She kept up riding, and she still does love horses and go riding, and that's all down to Dunrovin. But she's about to graduate soon. How's that? Getting older. Yeah. I don't know how she can get older and I'm not, but there you go. Anyway.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Everyone else is getting older, but I'm staying young.
Yeah. The things I was going to do was take her back to Dunrovin because she loved it. Yeah. But I'm also thinking that maybe I'd love to take her to the Galapagos too. And then we'll use Dunrovin for our, college stuff.
Yeah, so, well, that's wonderful to be planning trips with her. Well, I'm really glad that
Dunrovin, and it's really funny when I look at the cameras. I can remember sitting in that swing and reading and thinking, I didn't know they had a camera on me.
Yeah, we've come a long ways even since you've been here with the river camera and the bench camera, and it's really kind of fleshed out. So
I love the river camera because I spend a lot of time sitting down there, and I just love seeing that. So.
Yeah. Well, Diane, thank you for volunteering, and I'm going to say goodbye because it's 3:30. It's been an hour, but you've really helped us prove up this technology. And we'll do more of this, and we won't do it as a surprise. We'll do it well in advance so people can get ready for it. But thank you so much for volunteering. I can't tell you how wonderful it is to see you. By the way, I love your glasses. The blue is
thank you. Okay, Celia, you're next.
Yeah, Celia, get yourself a camera.
Yeah. It's on your PC, probably. You already have a camera.
Yeah. Okay. Well, goodbye, Diane, and goodbye, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This has been a lot of fun, and we'll do more of this for sure.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye.